her daughter just suddenly stopped speaking, like she wasn't talking anymore. And she didn't know why. So it was kind of strange. She took her to the doctor. They did some tests. And eventually they found out, they said, ma'am, your daughter, she has a rare genetic disorder. And it's called MPS. And this disorder will make your daughter slowly, throughout the years, lose all her faculties, little by little, until she dies. A friend of mine, and so a while ago when her kids were very young, her first daughter, around the time she was 3, she got a call from her school or from her teacher, and her teacher told her that her daughter just suddenly stopped speaking, like she wasn't talking anymore. And she didn't know why. So it was kind of strange. She took her to the doctor. They did some tests. And eventually they found out, they said, ma'am, your daughter, she has a rare genetic disorder. And it's called MPS. And this disorder will make your daughter slowly, throughout the years, lose all her faculties, little by little, until she dies. And I'm sorry, we don't have a cure. And don't expect that usually they will live past age 13. But until she's 13, you're going to have to watch her deteriorate, your daughter. And then a few years later, her second daughter was tested, and she also was told that your second daughter has MPS. And then she had a third daughter, and her third daughter also had MPS. So she has 3 daughters with MPS, and then she has a son who had severe autism. Okay? So now she has 4 children, and over the years, and I witnessed this. I met her when her children were older, and I saw them once they had reached their teen years. And I visited her, and over the years I visited her home. I cannot describe to you how this woman lived. Like literally, she didn't sleep. It was like she did the job of like 7 nurses. Her home was like a hospital. There was a room. All 3 daughters completely lost the ability to walk, even sit up on their own. A lot of the time they were on breathing machines. She'd have to suction them just so that they could not choke on their saliva, because they lost the ability to swallow. That's actually where she was. And her son, who was autistic, he actually, of all her struggles, she said that the biggest struggle was her son, because no matter what they would do, they would put all these special locks on the door. He would crack the code and he would just wander off and he would disappear. And the police would bring him back. And this was like, no matter what they did, they couldn't lock the door in a code that he couldn't break. So this woman didn't sleep. Like literally, she did not sleep. Day and night, she was taking care of her children. Now, why I tell her story, and by the way, now 2 of her daughters have passed away. Okay, and they died, and they lived longer than I think almost anyone with MPS. Her oldest lived, I think, until she was 19. This is like unheard of. But she took care of these children in a way that no one could even imagine. If she gets a nurse, they can't handle it. What she does, what one woman does for all of them. And the reason I tell this story is it is not because it's tragic, but because of something that this woman said to me years ago when I met her, is that she described her life and she said, I am drowning in gratitude. I just explained to you her life, her trial, and yet she said, I'm drowning in gratitude. So how does something like that happen? How does a miracle like that happen? And I am telling you, that is the power of Iman. Wallahi, that's the power of Iman, faith. I saw it in front of my eyes. It's not just a story that you heard in the books. I witnessed it. This is a real woman, lives in New Jersey, and she's on Facebook. She's a real person. And she said, I'm drowning in gratitude. To be able to not only survive such a trial, but to continue to be grateful, that to me is a sign of God. Absolutely a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.